Hello, Dill Demonique. I went back, I read this backward from Azranach through to Three Dogmas of Materialism, and I'm glad I did because the response I had in mind to this video I'm responding to was different before I saw that one, in which I largely agree with you now. Materialist as a school of philosophy. Well, there's always a funny thing about taking something like materialism as a school of philosophy because materialism is really something that each school of philosophy has its own theory about. It's the nature of a school of philosophy to define basic terms like what it means to be material. Now, I agree with you, it's not an illusion, and I'm going to say this in terms of an ancient philosophy. I like as well ancient philosophies, and this is the ancient Pyrrhonist philosophy, as distinct from the skeptical school. They were skeptics, and this is distinct from the academic skeptics, so-called, who were nihilists, basically. They believed that nothing could be known. They believed you couldn't really prove you couldn't know anything, and you knew that you couldn't know anything. But whereas the Pyrrhonists don't know that you can't know something. I mean, for example, let's say you just make a guess. You could make a guess and be right, as far as we know. But it is a guess, and so if your knowledge requires 100% certainty, that's where we say you can't have 100% certainty, and the skeptics are specialized in this question. One thing back on Three Dogmas of Materialism, we do exist. Now, from a skeptical point of view, and remember, I'm going to define these terms from the skeptical point of view. I'm a materialist, but here's what materialism means. And now, I also wanted to say that I am an individualist, so I believe that every person is a school of philosophy, basically, as well. But there's patterns, and so I'm going to refer to the skeptical pattern. Now, it's true that nothingness is unknowable, but according to skepticism, everything is unknowable in that sense. Okay, maybe to a lesser degree, there might be, maybe knowledge of nothingness is truly unknowable, really, though not necessarily, and not why it might be possible to understand nothingness is in the same sense that we can, I think certainly, you disagree maybe, but think about, to me it seems certain that we can perceive vacuum through space. It's a spatial dimension. And space is just as important as material, and the reason why is this. And this is something I've always kind of thought because I thought we were animals and it makes sense for animals, but cognitive science has really started to have a lot of interesting terminology and theories coming along about this. And one is that while all of our abstractions are metaphorical, many of them, and I would say the good ones, come down to the material world. They're abstractions of the material world. Space is such an abstraction. Now, this is the point about materialism also being a school of philosophy. I mean, material can mean a lot of different things, and it all gets down to how do you discover material, which is obviously through the senses. So if you do everything by evidence, right there, evidence means you're getting it through the senses. And so if you so if you're a materialist, and you're talking about things that can be measured by the senses, and that's the way in which people get the idea that it's an illusion. But the senses are images, and some images are illusion, and I think it's pretty certain that our images from the senses are mixed with illusion. Now, how is that? Well, you see, the thing is in our mind, we never have anything except models of something out there in the world. And just like any model, it's not 100% accurate. It's reduced, it's simplified. So it's always an approximation. Okay, I cut all of that off. Got too wandery. I think I cut off some good things I wanted to say, or that I think are good. But one is that one of the points of materialism, and it can be with reference to the senses and the motion experience. That's important because when you're restrained in motion, that's a big basis for your sense of freedom and a lot of the other philosophical terms, and it's no surprise why. So yeah, that's sudden, but I didn't like to keep that on. I think that was enough that I had up there, even though it's an abrupt ending. So, yeah, I'm going to eat my noodles and drink my rather light lager or pilsnery, because that's what goes with noodles. Okay.